today we're going to be learning how to draft the corset pattern. So to start, I've drawn my shoulder line, which will be serving as my starting line. So from that line now, I'm going to place my tape like this, and I will measure down to my bust point. So I will mark it here. So my bust point is 9 inches. So I will mark that here. So from that 9 inches, I'm going to mark my under bust measurement, placing the tape at the shoulder line, and this is my under bust 11.5 inches, sorry. I'll mark it there, and I'll come down to my half length measurement, and I'll mark it there as well. So now I'm going to mark these lines across like this. As you see me doing like this, I'm just going to mark it across like this. So go ahead and mark yours across. If you've gotten yours, just create a mark and just mark those points across so you know which one is your bust line, your under bust, and your waistline. So just mark them across. So this is my under bust, and this is my waistline measurement here. That's what I'm marking now. This is my waistline measurement. So I'll just mark it across like this. So guys, I'll come to this shoulder line and I will measure my shoulder measurement. So my shoulder divided by 2 is 7 inches. So I'll mark it here. Create a point there. From that 7 inches, I'll come down by 1 inch to create my shoulder slope. So now from this line, I'm going to take my neck width, which is 3 inches. Now we connect that 1 inch into the 3 inches to create my shoulder slope like this. Just connect it so you have your shoulder slope like this. Now from that shoulder slope that I created, I'll come down by 7 inches to get my armhole. So I'll come down by 7 inches from that point here, and I will mark it here 7 inches. Now I'm going to rule a line across it. So this line now will now serve as my chest line. So I'll rule the line across it. So this new line I'm ruling now will be serving as my chest line here. So now I'm going to rule the line across to meet that chest line measurement that I just drew now, like this. Place your tape, make sure it's straight, and rule the line to meet the new line we drew, which is our chest line measurement. So this, like I said, is now my chest line. So I'm going to label it now. So this is my chest line, this is my bust line, this is my under bust, and this is my waist line. Okay guys, so now I'll just create like an arm, although we will not be needing it, but this will just serve as a guide for us. So I'll just create an armhole, just give it a curve to serve as a guide, though we'll not be using it like I said earlier. So now place my tape at the center front, which is the side that is sealed, and I will mark my nipple to nipple measurement on the bust line. I'll do the same thing on the under bust, and I'll do the same thing for the waistline as well. I will mark it here. My nipple to nipple is the same thing as your bust span measurement. Some people call it the bust span measurement. Now I'm going to connect the 3 lines together using my ruler, and this is it. So go ahead and connect your nipple to nipple measurement together using your ruler. Just connect it together like this. So this is it. So now I just want to create like a neck depth so that you have an idea of what we are doing, although it's not needed in this particular tutorial, but let's just create it so that the pattern will not be looking strange, especially to beginners. So I'll just create it here. So this is my neck depth. So now I'll take my tape and I will measure what I have between this end of the neck width to the armhole that we drew, and I got 4 here. So I'm going to divide that 4 into 2. So now we're trying to get our shoulder dart. So this is 2 inches here. So I will mark it right here, and I'll connect these 2 inches points here to meet that bust span that we took at the bust line. So I'll use my ruler and I'll connect a straight line across it like this to meet it. So now guys, I'll come to this waistline and I will place my tape like this, and I will measure half an inch on both sides. Though lots of people uses 1 inches, but I'm very small. My bust is actually very small. I discovered that whenever I use 1 inches, it's actually too big for me. So half an inch works perfectly. So I'll measure half an inch on both sides. Then on the bust line, I'll come down by 1 inch and I'll make a point there. So guys, if you are busty at the waistline, you can go ahead and measure 1 inch. But because I'm small, I'll be using half an inch on both sides. So I'll come down on this waistline and measure, mark my 1 inch point there. Then I'll measure the distance between my under bust and my waistline. So what I got is 2.5 inches. So I'm going to place that 2.5 inches on that bust line up, and I'm going to take it, measure it all the way around as you see me doing like this. Go ahead and measure what you've got for the distance between your bust line and your under bust, and measure it all the way around, forming a circle. So this is it. I've gone ahead to form my circle. So this will serve as a guide for our corset. So now on this under bust line, I'll go in and out by half an inch on both sides of this pattern. So this is half an inch, and I'll connect it to meet the previous half inch that we did on the half length measurement, and I'll connect it like this. So this pattern is what works for me, and it's what I've been using, and it works perfectly for me. So if you're on a smaller side like me, you can go ahead and use the exact measurements the way I'm doing like this. It works perfectly. So this is it, half an inch, and just connecting it to meet the one at the waistline. So this is it guys. So now I'm going to use my French curve to connect from here to meet that previous 1 inches that we took down from the bust line like this, and I'll do the same thing for the other side. Just use your curve and create it to meet the 1 inch that we came down by on the bust line like so. Now you can choose to work on to use your chest line, or you can decide to come down by half an inch for this part. But for me, I'll be maintaining my chest line, so I'll go in by half an inch here. I'll make a point there. Now I'll measure what I have here at this under bust point, which is 1 inches. So that 1 inches that I've got there, I'll divide it into 3, and I'll be giving one part to the side coming towards the front. So divide whatever you have at your under bust into 3. So I gave one part to the side going towards the center, and I gave the other two to the side going towards the front like this, and I made a point there. So now I'm going to connect this point to meet this point here. I'm going to be using my French curve to do that. So guys, when you are placing this, make sure your um, French curve is properly aligned, because if you don't place it properly, your curve won't come out nice. So just place it like this, as you can see. And then, because we want to have like a cup tightening, we want our cup to be a bit firm at the front, I'm going to come in by 1/4 inch from that previous mark that we made. So I'll go in by 1/4 inch on both sides, so we have that bust tightening at the upper side, so that we have that corset tightening there. It won't be free. So now I've gone ahead to do that. So next, I'm going to connect it to meet the bust, line. So go ahead to connect yours to meet the bust line like this using your French curve. So this is it. I'm going ahead to connect mine, just smoothing this part a bit. So this is it, guys. And I'll do the same thing for the other side. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, share, click on the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell so you get notified whenever I post a new video. So I've gone ahead to do that for the second side, and this is how it's looking. So now connect these points together. As you can see, our cup is coming alive. So I'll place my ruler like this and I'll connect it together just like this. Can you see? So this part of our corset is ready and is looking beautiful. So now we want to work on the sides of our pattern. So to do that, I will measure the distance between these parts to meet that other cover, the armhole, and I'll just divide it into two to make that small curve we had at the armhole there. I'll come down by half an inch. So now I want to create like an armhole for this dress because we'll no longer be using this previous one now. So I'll come down by half an inch, and from there I'll just I'll just draw a straight line, sorry, to yes, like this, draw a straight line, and I'll connect from the under bust to meet that line that I drew using your French curve again. So go ahead and connect like this. Please guys, subscribe to my channel, share, like, turn on your notification bell, sorry. I'll now connect the upper part like this as well. Can you see how beautiful this corset is looking? Look at our cup looking so beautiful. So this is it right here. So next I'm going to just take all my body measurements. So on my bust line, I'll take my bust measurement divided by 4, and I'm going to mark it here. I'll come down to my under bust, and I'll take my under bust measurement divided by 4, and I will mark it here. And then I'm going to replace this 1 inch dart that we took here. I'll place it back. Guys, remember to replace your dart. If you don't do that, your dress is going to be small. I'll do the same thing for my half length, my waistline. I'll do the same thing for my waistline. I'll replace the dart here, which is 1 inch as well. So now this is my actual body measurement. Now I want to add seam allowance. So I'll be using 1.5 inch seam allowance. You can go ahead and use 1 inch if you can work with 1 inch. So I'll be using 1.5 inch seam allowance all the way. So I'm adding 1.5 inch allowance all the way down, and I'm going to use my ruler to connect the lines together like this. Like this. So now this line I'm drawing now is my actual measurement here. This is my actual measurement, and the other one is, so as you can see, the other one there is my seam. So these parts will be cut off, no longer need this part. So now we'll go ahead and cut this out, and we use this front pattern to draft the back pattern of this dress. So I'll be using the front of this pattern now, this front pattern, to draft the back of our dress. So I'll quickly cut this out and let's get to the back pattern of the dress. So when you are cutting, make sure you cut carefully so you don't ruin the pattern. Cut along the lines so you don't ruin the pattern. Please subscribe to my channel, share, leave a comment. If there is any question you would like to ask, you can leave the questions in the comment section and I'll be happy to reply to them. So I'm just trying to cut carefully. So now this is the front pattern after cutting, and I want to use it to cut out the back. So I went ahead to place my front pattern on another pattern paper, and I'm trying to pin it down. So this is the side of our front pattern. And now after pinning down, I want to measure the 1 inch that we took as the dart. So I will place the center front after the 1 inch. As you can see the space there, and I will pin this down as well. So this is it. So you can see now this is how it's looking, and that's the space. This is the space, 1 inch space that we left for our dart, and I'm going to mark it because this back is also going to have a dart as well. So I'll just mark it here. So basically this is it. So at this side I'm going to create our zipper because this dress is having a zipper. So our zipper allowance is 1 inch. I'll be working with 1 inch zipper allowance. So this is what I'm marking here. I'll use my marker to just draw the line so it will be visible for you to see. So this is it here, and I'll draw the other side. This is 1 inch zipper. You can go ahead and use 1.5 inch as well, but for me I'll be using 1 inch, and I'll just connect the sides together, and I'll do the same thing. So I'll just label this one now as my zipper. This is my zipper. So you can see how it's looking now. This is basically our back pattern here. So now I'm going to just trace out this waistline here. So you don't want the back waistline to be longer than the front waistline, so just trace this out. So this is it after tracing out. So now I want to come down on this zipper side by 1/2 inch. So I want it to be a bit low. I'll just connect it to meet the other end like this to have a slight curve. So on this dart side, remember we marked it. I'll just divide it into two and mark the middle to have our dart, so that we can have our dart leg. And I will draw it just really straight line like this to meet the upper part of this dress. And on both sides I will draw my dart leg like this, which is 1/2 inch on both sides. Remember it's 1 inch, so 1/2 inch on both sides is what makes it 1 inch. So I'll just do it like this, and this is all for the back pattern. So I'll just go ahead and cut this out. I'll be seeing you in my next video where we'll be sewing this pattern for this dress. Thank you so much for watching.